RMAC went on the men's side. It was definitely our best race of the year. It's kind of funny. Our top two guys ended up. Our number two guy, or the guy that's been our number two, ended up just kind of having a tough race, and then our number one guy, Tony Torres, fell during the race, and so he ended up finishing seventh. And so our normal number two and our normal number one finished 6 and 7, so that's outside of scoring. But other than that, everybody else picked it up big time, and we ended up actually almost beating Western, which I believe at the time was ranked 7th, and then UCCS, which is ranked 12th. And so if those guys finished close to what they normally do, then we are up there right behind two of the top 3 teams in the country, which is what I think that we could have been doing all year. On the women's side, we had decent racing. I think that it's just a really, really close contest between everyone from like 7 to 10, really, and that's right where our girls fit in. And so we're just looking to go down this next weekend at regionals and have them step it up a little bit and put us in the next bubble up, which would give us a shot at that national meet. So.
Yeah, you mentioned regionals coming up next for you guys. What's kind of a unique situation where your whole season's pretty much based off this race?
Yep.
What's training been like going into that, and what's kind of the mindset heading into the race?
Yeah, so for conference, we took really our first true down week of the season, and so we've just kind of had a tough training schedule all year, and then this week's going to be a real big down week for us. We've got our last workout before regionals today, and so it's a lot like the volumes in the workout. It's like a little bit more than half for each of the groups, and so normally on the men's side we do about a 10K worth of effort for our workout, and today we're doing about a 6K worth of effort, and then for the women we're doing the same thing, right around like half of what their normal thing is. So there's normal race is 6K, so they're going to be doing like 3 to 4K worth of volume, so a lot less. And then Thursday we want to have a workout, so we're just looking to be really, really fresh this weekend, and our men have a really, really good shot at not only just going but placing very high in our region, and then our women have a shot to be one of those bubble teams. So.
Questions?
So you guys, you're both veterans. You've got you and all the little babies.
Yeah.
But how do you prepare for a regional win? Because like Dave said, this is the season. It doesn't matter all the miles and everything. How do you prepare, and then also help your teammates prepare for that one shot?
So the last couple of weeks we've been just really trying to take it easy, especially for all the younger girls, because they're not used to running for this long during a season. So I've also just been trying to tell them my experiences with past regional meets, and don't put so much pressure on yourself where it just overwhelms you and you end up blowing up. So that's just what I've been trying to tell them, and making sure that they take care of themselves until then. So yeah.
And from the guys' side, because we've been racing 8Ks all year long, so and regionals 10K, so we've been actually training for 10Ks for probably the past couple months, with all the volume. So we've been actually training for a long time, getting ready for it. And I think I'm just talking about the guys who are more excited to race than scared. Usually we're nervous for races, but this time everyone's just wants to get there. We're kind of hate going to class this week. We just want to just get down there, get ready to race, and we're excited. Our training's been right all year. Now we're trying to kind of take a little down week so we can feel fresh for this race.
Say nothing like a taper week, is there?
Not really.
And obviously, you don't have to run at altitude for a change.
Yeah.
That has to even make you a little more excited. You have air to breathe now?
Yeah, last year at this course, there was a ton of sea level schools, and all the girls there were like, oh, this sucks, because it's still a couple thousand feet, but still we're going down, and they were all struggling a little bit, so it was kind of fun to laugh and be like, oh, this isn't hard. The hills that they thought were super hard were little bumps, so it was just kind of fun to mess with them a little bit.
Speed bumps?
Yeah.
What is it you said that you guys have run 8Ks all season, but you train in that 10K kind of volume? What does that do when you get to that 8K? Does that help you as a runner?
For me, it does help a lot because we're so used to running 6 miles, 7 miles per workout. Since I'll never race 5 miles, it's significantly easier, but it's still hard because you're still trying to push through. Then we got to the point where our 8K is the same as the 10K, but we're just doing a little less. Like it's the same pace, but then the 10K we're just strong enough to be able to hold it for an extra 2K. I think that's just where all the training's been going towards.
And that's how our champions for the men, all the meets that matter are all 8 or 10K. So it's 8Ks all year. Just for people that are like new to college cross country, it's 8Ks all year, and then the 2 conference is still an 8K. But regionals, when it matters to getting to nationals, and then nationals are 10K. And then for the women, it's 5K all year, and then championship season is 6K. So that kind of it's. Like further throughout the season, we're not really training for what we're doing. We're training for something a little bit longer, which makes it kind of weird, but that's just college cross country. So.
Yeah, I'm more of a distance person anyways, and so I really like the 6K. I would be okay if we went up farther than that. Like, I don't know. I think it would help me out, but yeah, I don't really notice a difference just because I like the distance anyways.
You guys are in one of the cool few, like, unique, where it's, you know, like a golf, it's an individual sport, but a team sport. Do you guys set individual goals along with, you know, running? We talked about, you know, you have to help the other kids run and stuff, but do you also have personal goals you kind of want to hit when you come to these big races like this?
Yeah, for me personally, I just kind of had to set goals on, like mostly this year, I don't really have time goals because pretty much nationals is all about like what you place in the races before. So I've been kind of making place goals for a conference. I wanted top 28 and I got 22nd, so I was happy with that. But mostly it's team goals this year for me, mostly because the best way to get to nationals is with a team aspect. So I'm trying to set team goals, have everyone push, makes it a lot easier for me.
For me, I definitely have goals kind of like that with no time goals because I'll focus too much on it. But I've also been trying to focus more on the team goals because when I focus too much on my individual goals and I don't hit that, I am really hard on myself. So it's easier for me to just focus on the team as a whole.
Coach, maybe could you talk about maybe just a little about that cutoff, like you was mentioning before nationals, what it's like how many people need to, you don't have to go to that.
Yeah. So that's part of cross country too, is we don't really know until we're there or even a little bit after. But our region is probably going to take 6 to 7 teams on both sides, men and women. And so really the RMAC, our conference, is by far the most loaded, and there's maybe 1 or 2 other teams on the men's side that could compete with any of the top really 7 in the RMAC. And so there's one other school that could maybe mix it up a little bit. But, you know, on the guys' side, if we just do what we did last weekend and also have Tony and Trevor back up to, you know, doing what they can do, then we could beat almost anybody. So we just got to go in with that confidence and with the pack mentality that we had. That was the first time that our men ran as a pack all year, and it was a pretty obvious difference from, like, the rest of our races. And so yeah, it's going to be – we need to shoot for, like, top 4, in my opinion, top 3, top 4. But we'll get there if we're, like, top 6 to 7. And then on the women's side, we're going to be one of those bubble teams. And so, you know, we've been racing these teams all year, so they just need to know what jerseys they need to be chasing. And they're a little bit more spread out than the guys. The guys, we've got kind of Tony up by himself, and then we have a pack of 5 to 6 guys that are all running together. Where on the women's side, we've got Kira, and then we've got Lindsay and Alyssa who run together, and then we've got 2 freshmen that run together, and then we've got a junior or a sophomore. I guess technically she's still a freshman, but she's moving up a little bit. But they're just a little bit more spread out, and so they don't get that pack mentality that the men have, but they still have. Most of them have, like, at least another person that they're running with, and so they're able to, like, spot jerseys and have comfort knowing that they're running with someone that they do workouts all the time with versus, like, a bunch of random people. But they'll definitely be, you know, they've got a shot, but we're more on the bubble on the women's side. So, yeah.
All right, Shane, you're off the hook for a question of the week.
All right.
For you too. What is your favorite class in CMU right now?
Neither of you take any with me.
Okay. I take a lot of English classes because I'm an English major. This sounds really lame, but I really like my copy editing class. I really like my professor too. Professor Wright, he's really funny, so that helps. And it's just, I don't know, I think it's really interesting, but I think most people would think it was really boring.
And for me, I'm technically not taking any classes right now. I'm just doing my internship. I'm finishing up my senior year and just taking my internship, helping teach fitness classes at a assisted living facility. So I'm really enjoying that. But I think overall, my favorite class I ever took was probably health and wellness my freshman year, because I had to really just laid the groundwork for what I really wanted to do, because I came in freshman year not knowing what I wanted, and I took health and wellness, and I liked it. I'm on the right path.